there in Cambridge, Massachusetts for tonight's battle between the Harvard Crimson and the undefeated in conference Yale Bulldogs. Thank you so much for joining us for a very exciting Ivy League volleyball matchup. I'm Dylan Hornblum alongside my broadcast partner, Will Henschel. And Will, we have an exciting one tonight. We should at least. Harvard looking to get back to their winning ways after starting 3-0 in conference but getting swept last weekend. What's going to be the number one priority for them as they look to get back on track this weekend?
The Crimson got to be really aggressive at the service line. They are plumb last in the Ivy League with only 66 service aces so far this season. If they want to get Yale out of system and really start attacking them at the net, it all starts at the service line.
And on the flip side, Betsy Goodnow for the Yale Bulldogs has been really good in the early goings of the season. 24 kills just last weekend. What have you seen from her?
A lot this season. She's averaging just about 3.5 kills per set. And even going back to last season when she was a freshman, all Ivy second team, all Ivy all tournament team. Really, really strong play from the right side.
Well, no surprise. The Bulldogs try to set her on play number 1 after the serve from Rocky Aguirre. But it looks like the Crimson were there for that one. To close the door on the first point of the game goes to the home team. Aguirre back to serve again. The set was from the best setter in the Ivy League, Carly Deal, the senior from San Diego, California. We'll have our eye on her all night as we get the first kill for the Bulldogs, sending them to the service line. Looks like it's going to be good now, first to serve. The set from Aguirre, a swing from Bryn Faltinsky, and she's rejected at the net.
Yeah, Faltinsky's probably the best weapon that Harvard has at its disposal, and she's been a really strong factor all year, but this Yale blocking is just so strong, and it's just been an issue for teams this entire season, especially when they get into Ivy League play. Harvard has to look out for that.
Good now with another good serve. Aguirre sets the middle. It was the first year, Bennett Truby there, getting the kill for Harvard on the big side out. Number 14 from Dallas, Texas, a first year who's made a big impact for this Harvard squad from that middle blocker spot.
Yeah, Truby, kind of a shock player, or maybe less shocking to head coach Jen Weiss, but a player that really wasn't expecting to get a whole lot of play time, but she's made a big impact, especially at that net front presence, a big body up there, 6'5".
A crafty set there from Deal, but the Crimson were ready. And a swing from Peyton Bryan on the outside. Too long, and Harvard maintains serve.
And Bryan hasn't had the most experience, only is making her 9th match appearance so far this season, but is averaging about 2.5 kills a set. So kind of rare you see that kind of mistake from her.
Faltinsky delivers. Deal just tries to get it up, and good now from the back row. It's played by the Crimson. Was there a touch? Officials say no, and Yale's going to take serve here. We're knotted up at 3 early on in the first set.
Bryn Fury up there on the left side. Harvard really is trying to mix up the ball, going to the outsides, at the pins, going up the middle when they can, when they have a good ball opportunity.
Kara Schultz now back to serve. Dug out nicely by the Crimson, and the point scored by the Crimson. That one started with the defense of Lindsay Zhang, a defensive specialist and a really good libero, has been for years for this Crimson squad.
Yeah, Zhang's been a real key player, especially when you go back to the early goings of this season. There was a little bit of uncertainty as to who would be wearing that libero uniform for Harvard. Zhang, after a couple of really good performances last year as a libero, stepped right into the full-time role this year.
Riley Patterson that time with a strong play, getting a tip at the net and winning a point for the Crimson. Zhang back to serve, looking to make this a run now. Deal the set. And the kill from Mila Jaric, a very well-rounded, very good player, one of the best in the Ivy League, playing in only her 6th match of the season, missing most of all the non-conference play. She just came back for Ivy League play, and she's been great, but she's still finding her stride as Riley Patterson delivers from that middle position. One of the best sources of offense that the Crimson have is setting Riley Patterson. Boy, does she deliver offensively and defensively. She is a key cog in the wheel here for the Crimson. And back to serve, I believe, will be Nicole Cornell, the first-year setter. There's the set from Deal. The back row swing from Goodnow, and it converts.
So far, we've seen both sides just trading powerful swings. And it hasn't really been hitting line so far for either side, but a lot of touches off the blocks, a lot of kind of swiped passing attempts. Both teams just kind of settling in right now.
That time, Aguirre tried to set Corinne Fury from the back row, but the senior goes long over the back line. And we're going to see a service run continue here for Carly Deal, not only one of the best setters in the Ivy League, but also one of the best servers. And an ace for Deal on that one. Number 21 on the season for Carly Deal.
And Deal is not only in this game, but leads the Ivy League in and aces per set.
Fury pushed it over there for the Crimson. Zhang digs that one out. 2 bodies on it for Harvard that time. And Yale have a chance in system here. Good now, big swing, dug out by the Crimson. We play on. Deal sets good now again. That one off the double block. It's going to be a Zhang bump set for Fury. She's rejected, but Harvard keeps play alive. One more time for Fury. Again, they keep playing. And that was like rinse and repeat on the spin cycle. Harvard just kept trying the same thing over and over with no success there.
Corinne Fury having to jump probably 4 or 5 times in that one play, and Riley Patterson right in the front row making 3 really strong covers, and unfortunately the last one just took a little bit of a strange carom, but that's great blocking defense by Yale, but also great tenacity by the Crimson.
And Harvard coming right back, showing some of that tenaciousness, taking a point and ending the serving run there for Carly Deal, which is important. You want to get her off the line as soon as possible. So after a long point where Harvard can't convert, they come back with that one. And it looks like we're going to get a stoppage here. Just waiting to see if this is a team timeout or just an official stoppage.
Yeah, I didn't see a hand signal, but either way, both teams getting some much needed rest. But you're absolutely right. The rest, or I should say the breakage of that service streak, very important for Harvard. You look at the record, Yale 5-0 in Ivy League play so far. Crimson got to do it's going to be a big effort to keep Yale close, and keeping it within, 1 or 2 points as this set goes on will be pretty crucial.
Absolutely, and fast starts have not been there for Harvard this year. First set has not necessarily been their friend, especially in the last few matches that they've played. So a fast start would be great for Jen Weiss's squad to at least stay competitive, push this first set to the brink, and see if they can make Yale sweat it out here early. I'm sure that's part of the plan of what they came in with, and both teams exchanging big blows there early on. We haven't seen them put a point on the board yet, so it leads me to believe this is, in fact, an official review.
I think it is, yeah. So I believe Yale is challenging for a net violation, is what I am reading into. If this stands, it would be 8-7 if the call on the floor stands. And it will not stand. Reverting back to Yale.
So that means the service run continues for Carly Deal, the senior setter. Just picked up her 21st ace. She's been targeting Amelie Lima there on the near side back row corner. We'll see if she continues to target that spot. But it looks like the challenge served to ice her a little bit, and she goes into the net with that one, a service error. Only 108 service errors as a team for Yale coming into this match, so they've been pretty good at not hurting themselves from the service line in comparison to what the Crimson have been able to do this year. As we see Taya Piet come in, the Hawaii native, serving specialist, delivers to the back row. Deal sets across, and Yarich goes long with no touch from the Crimson.
Kara Schultz on that swing was desperately appealing for some kind of contact off the hand. She does not get the call. And that will remain Harvard's points, but a lot of really close bang-bang plays here early in the first set.
Too much juice on that one for Piet. And Yale's lead grows to 2 here as we come closer to the halfway point of the first set.
Dylan, this is something we talked about well before this game started, but Yale opponents entering this game only committed 81 service errors against them. So the Bulldogs have not been getting a lot of free help, and yet they've still found a 5-0 record in conference play.
And with plays like that, you see why, even out of system, they're able to put together a quality look and find that patch of court where Harvard just wasn't able to respond. It's going to keep this service run going here for Mila Jaric, who's just so glad to be back on the court. The native of Tampa, Florida, a senior who's made her impact felt in the Ivy League for 3, now make it 4 years. Trying to find her stride and trying to keep this service run going. A nice dig there by Zhang. Aguirre sets the middle for Patterson. Saved by Goodnow. And that one not off the block, just out. So a nice swing there by Laurice Abraham, but can't find the inside of the line.
Abraham is a really potent weapon for Yale so far this season, averaging 2.5 kills a set and has accumulated 135 so far this season, but unable to get a touch right there on a bit of a broken play.
And we get our first look at Hannah Wynn for the Crimson. But the junior has her service run ended abruptly on that big swing.
And that's Abraham again, just showing why she's one of the best middles, not only in the Ivy League, but maybe even in the entire country. But you look at that Yale side, that a lot of the firepower is coming courtesy of players like Abraham. They got 3 players, Betsy Goodnow, Laurice Abraham, and Gigi Barr, are really there's only 4 players on the team that have over 100 kills, and that's 3 of them right there, making a huge percentage of the total number of points that Yale has this season.
Yeah, they know where their bread is buttered, you could say, Will, and they certainly go to those wells a lot because, let's face it, it works. And kind of the opposite for the Crimson here this year as they're looking for new faces to step up, especially offensively, and they continue to try new things. Bryn Faltinsky is one of those new faces, but that time, not enough power to get through the block, and she is rejected. Faltinsky, after contributing in her first year and a sophomore season, has really been thrust into a much larger role for the offense, and when she gets it going, she definitely has the ability to rattle off point after point, but so far, she has not been able to find the angles from that far side front row position. And we're back to where we started with Betsy Goodnow serving for Yale. They're up 3. Deal the set to the middle. And a swing and a kill there for Gigi Barr.
Yeah, Gigi Barr just said her name, one of the 4 players on Yale with over 100 kills this season, and one of 2 middle hitters on this Yale side with over 100 kills. So that's a big point of their offense, is to just run up the middle whenever they can.
A finesse touch there from Faltinsky sets Yale up for a big swing and a connection. Rocky Aguirre in the back row couldn't handle that one for the Crimson, and the lead is 5 for the Bulldogs. We'll see a timeout here from Harvard.
And you saw Yale on that bench right there winding up and taking a home run on that one, because that's what it seems like every time Betsy Goodnow winds up and takes a swing at the ball. Such high speed, very difficult spin to deal with, and even when Harvard gets in front of it, like we just saw there, very difficult to get up and set up an offense.
Yeah, Betsy Goodnow. Also worth mentioning, she was a track and field state finalist in 4 different events in high school, helping her high school track and field team win a state championship.
Of the season, but yeah, for the most part, the preseason poll hanging true, at least in the early stages of the Ivy League tournament. Still plenty of games to go. That leaderboard can change a whole lot, but so far so good for those top teams.
Absolutely. As a reminder, this is the first run-through for all of these Ivy League schools to face their opponents. A really nice pancake save there by Zhang, but Harvard can't do anything with it. So this is the first time Yale and Harvard are seeing each other this year. Yale did defeat the Crimson last year, all 3 times they played, both times in the regular season and then in the first round of the Ivy League tournament. So a little bit of bad blood here, and the Crimson would love to get some revenge from last season, but of course focusing on what they can control. And right now that's trying to get back in this first set. A big swing from Faltinsky, but no problem there for Jew. Aguirre with the back set, trying to get Ali Farquhar involved, but Farquhar inaccurate on her swing. And that'll keep the service running for Goodnow.
You brought up that dig right there by Area Jew on Bryn Faltinsky. She's just about 3 digs per set. She has just been everywhere on the floor. Oh, a little help from the tape there. Unlucky for Harvard, but that's going to be an ace.
Sometimes even gravity's playing for one team or the other, or it's just an incredible shot there from Betsy Goodnow, and she did it on purpose.
I think any other player would have said that maybe that was a bit of an accident, but Goodnow's been that good all season.
She really has. Almost an overpass there for Harvard, but they're able to save it and make something out of nothing with Truby getting the dump and the kill.
Yeah, those are the worst to deal with if you're Yale. Just kind of a free ball. The first contact is made, and now it's like, well, who's covering for the setter right now? We got to figure out how to get this ball in the air, and that's why communicating on the court is so important, just to limit those kind of mistakes.
Voltinsky to serve again. Goodnow gets the first touch. The set comes all the way across to Peyton Bryan. She's outside on the near line.
Yeah, Bryan trying a really tricky shot there, trying to thread the ball between the block and the antenna and getting it down the sideline, but just kind of swiping it a bit too far out of play.
Voltinsky this time targets Jew, who's able to do enough to get the ball over for Yale. A big swing there from Farquhar. And it's Gigi Barr who finishes things off from the middle position. You talked about Barr. She's 5th in the Ivy League in hitting percentage, and she did have a season-high 14 kills last time out versus Columbia, so she's riding a high as well. Feeling very good about what she can do offensively from that middle spot, and if her teammates continue to set her, Harvard's going to have a hard time deciding which threats on the other side they really need to be paying attention to. Lindsay Zhang with the diving attempt there, but it's off and out. And Kara Schultz back to serve again.
Yeah, Schultz entering this game second in the Ivy League in terms of total service aces, but she might have a case to take the lead by the end of the night.
Again, almost an overpass by Harvard. No joust at the net. Maybe we were expecting one. There's Fury with a swing, but doesn't get too much on it. All the way across from Deal. The block is there from Truby. And that one over Truby and into the unready hands of Corinne Fury. Harvard starting to see this first set slip away, down 9.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Sometimes you just hear the expression, too many chefs in the kitchen. And that was a situation like that. Just too many hands on the ball right there and nobody able to fully commit.
And there's another ace for Schultz and a Harvard timeout. So Harvard not off to the start that they were looking for. Very competitive in the early goings of this first set. But as of late, it looks like Yale has really been able to pull something out here. They had a great service run from Carly Deal, and then they had a really good service run from Betsy Goodnow. And they're just firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing right now is just the blocking catching up to Harvard, just how strong Yale can be, despite really the numbers not reflecting how good of a blocking team Yale can be, as we're only averaging 1.38 blocks per set entering this game. That's dead last in the Ivy Leagues, but still a lot of size and a lot of experience up front for the Bulldogs. They can be dangerous when they get set up. What we're also seeing is just how great Yale is at the service line. We've already seen a handful of times the aces have started to plague Harvard, and the serve reception has not been where it needs to be for the Crimson.
Yeah, just looking at the stats of the things you're talking about, we're seeing a hitting percentage here for Harvard that is negative .33. On 15 attempts between Bryn Faltinsky and Corinne Fury, no kills there. So Faltinsky, 8 attacks, no kills. Fury, 7 attacks, no kills. So those numbers are definitely something that the Crimson will be looking to turn around. And meanwhile, 4 aces for the Bulldogs, no aces so far for the Crimson. And Schultz back to serve again. Ever dangerous. Zhang did a great job with that one. Truby with the dump. Yale was ready. Zhang trying to pull this one back in, but almost runs into her own bench, and she's not able to get there.
And Rocky Aguirre there in the right spot to make a play on the ball, but just somehow takes a kick left. The second it makes contact with her platform, and now Yale is within 2 points of the first set.
What an incredible serve there by Schultz. Unbelievable that Harvard was able to do something with that. Big credit to them for the serve receive. And that'll send Lindsay Zhang back to the service line with a lot of work to do here.
Yeah, no doubt. And when Yale starts knocking on your door with Goodnow and their lefty, you got to feed your lefty. And that's exactly what Ali Farquhar did just then.
Aguirre cross to Fury. A double dump there. Carly Deal is just so crafty. She's so good at what she does. She keeps defenses completely baffled, and you can see why there. 2 attempts in a row, meeting the ball at the net, and the second one drops for a point. It's set point for the Bulldogs. Harvard scrambling out of system, a free ball over for the Bulldogs. Deal the set from the middle, the kill for Abraham, and that's going to do it for set number 1. Maurice Abraham caps things off as the Bulldogs hit 241 in the first set and the Crimson hit 0. Yale taking set number 1, 25-13. Harvard and Hornblum alongside my broadcast partner, Will Henschel. Will, a great first set if you're the Yale Bulldogs, and Gigi Barr, number 8, that middle blocker from Elmhurst, Illinois, had a really good first set.
Yeah, and if you're looking for a player to watch for set number 2, Gigi Barr is certainly one to circle on your TV screen. Don't pull out a marker and circle your TV screen. That's just a figure of speech. But yeah, 5 kills in the opening set. Really strong performances, both blocking and swinging. The middle hitters for Yale really have just been really, really strong. Not just this game, but all season. Abraham with the point to end the first set. So no matter really who is filling up that middle blocker position for the Bulldogs, it's going to be somebody that can do some damage up there.
Barr halfway to her 7th double-digit kill match of the season. She came into the night with 109 kills, hitting 349, and those numbers are only going up. So really impressive stuff out of her. On the Harvard side, set number 1 certainly didn't go the way they were hoping. Only 6 assists for the Crimson in that first set. On the flip side, they were doubled up. Yale with 12 assists to go along with the 25-13 first set victory. So here we are in set number 2.
Yeah, Harvard's got a lot of work to do. As many errors as they have kills, 7-7.
Pulled back into the middle. Deal with the set to the back row. Aguirre with the tricky play. And a little offense from Rocky Aguirre as she scores a point, getting the Crimson on the board and keeping the Bulldogs on their toes.
Now, when in doubt, when you've got a setter in the front row and you've got an aggressive ball that you can attack, you just got to go for the setter dump sometimes.
And they go right back to Gigi Barr in the middle. If it works once, it's going to keep working. Harvard still with no answer for Gigi Barr.
Yeah, there are not many middles in the country that can get up that quickly and then slot a ball inside the 3-meter line on a cross-court action like she just did. That is an unbelievable swing from Barr.
Betsy good now, back to serve again. But the Crimson have an answer this time. It's the first-year Bennett Truby, who led the Crimson in kills in set number 1, and she picks up where she left off, getting a big side out for the Crimson, keeping momentum on Harvard's side. They would love to win set number 2, but it's only going to happen 1 point at a time here. Faltinsky with the serve. Barr with the big swing into the net, and that's going to go the Crimson's way.
Quickly turning into a battle of middles. You just saw Barr get set there again, putting that ball inside the nylon, but Harvard matching quick set for quick set, trying to get on Yale's speed.
Faltinsky with the powerful serve. A block at the net, and Yale is going to get called for the violation, so Crimson keeps things rolling here.
Yeah, another awkward play for the Bulldogs, kind of certainly not what we're used to seeing out of them this season, but a couple of messes on the sets.
Arya Ju keeps that one alive for the Bulldogs in the back row swing from Deal. Harvard with a nice free ball to keep it alive. The back set from Deal to Goodnow. Truby had the answer for that one. And past the block and down. That time it was Ali Farquhar rising up for the block, but a very precise shot there. And a big side out for the Bulldogs, who are going to send another great server. Kara Schultz back to the service line. She was absolutely dynamite in set 1 from back here.
Yeah, this is a player that if you're Harvard, you got to get off the line pronto.
Yeah, so Harvard caught with a tough serve receive there. Not a lot they can do.
Yeah, called for a lift there. That's interesting because I thought they made contact with that with the, not sure exactly who got second touch, but it looked like it was on the platform.
Fury had the first touch there, and Farquhar has the last one. A good in-system play for the Crimson. Bing, bang, boom. That's what they're looking for.
Yeah, and that's what happens when you just get the ball to the middle of the court. Your setter is so good. Rocky Aguirre has been phenomenal all season. She can get the ball to where it needs to go, but the ball has to be in play.
Lindsay Zhang serves to Ju. The set across from Deal. Patterson with the big swing. Schultz trying to track it down, hits off the rafters, and that's going to benefit the Bulldogs who are able to keep it alive. Aguirre again with the no-look dump. And that is the power of having Riley Patterson there in the middle, and that's the fear that she puts into defenses, really opens things up there for Aguirre with those crafty plays.
And this is such a smart play by Rocky Aguirre because she's in the back row right now. She can't attack the ball above the net line, but she does it below and just puts the ball in a totally unoccupied region of the floor.
There's Fury with the swing. Barr finding a corner that is wide open along the back row of the Crimson. Schultz and Goodnow talk things over as Barr puts the serve across. It's going to have to be Fury running up to the net. And just not a lot of Harvard can do there.
Yeah, tough play, broken play. Ball came back. Harvard had the opportunity to recycle it, but it's such a narrow angle to the net that it's difficult to make contact on it into a clean spot on the floor.
Faltinsky takes that serve. Farquhar with a really big swing, but Goodnow there to answer. Zhang's going to have to set this one. And a really accurate swing there from Corinne Fury.
Fury has kind of been one of the sleeper players for Harvard all season. It has a ton of match experience. This is now set number 45 that she's seen this season and has already accumulated entering today's game, 117 kills. But when you talk some of the bigger names on this program with Bryn Faltinsky and Aguirre, she kind of gets brushed under the rug, but she's been great so far.
Yale looking for a tip there. Kara Schultz pleading to the officials, calling for a touch, but the officials disagree, and the serve sticks with Harvard. It's the sophomore Amelie Lima serving. She's got 7 aces on the year, doesn't get one here, but she's able to keep that play alive, but a miscommunication there between Zhang and Fury. Either one of them could have probably had it, but Zhang did not see Fury there waiting.
It's unfortunate because Corinne and Fury certainly could have both made plays on that loose ball, but they both made contact with it. You know, usually when you get that kind of ball, it's just kind of instinctive for the libero to go after it, to get that kind of opportunity up in the air.
That's
but
how they're raised.
It looked like Fury was in a really good spot to maybe get that into a playable spot, but they get the point right back on the Yale service error. So, yeah, no harm, no foul.
And here's Taya Piet to serve. Ju gets it to Deal. Cross court, big swing there from Yarich, but Harvard with the answer. Now a touch play from Yarich. Schultz had the bump. Abraham has the kill. Another big swing for Laurice Abraham, the 6'1" sophomore middle blocker from Ann Arbor. Came into the night hitting .431. She is a weapon.
And this is why every single ball that goes over the net for Harvard has to have something on it, because if it's a free ball, if it is gently moving at all, Yale is going to be able to set up their middles. And with Laurice Abraham, that's a death sentence.
And Faltinsky saying, I think that caught a bit of hardwood. The officials agree. So off the set from Aguirre, Faltinsky with a big swing for a side out for Harvard, and that's going to send Hannah Wynn to the service line.
So far, Harvard's doing a really good job in this set, matching Yale's play style, accumulating some points, and building up this cushion.
Wynn puts it over. A big swing with the left hand of Goodnow, and Harvard cannot track it down.
And when the middles aren't an option, you get the ball out to the right side, and Goodnow is just so strong, so powerful. And again, we saw a Harvard player make contact with that swing. was in the right position for the pass and just couldn't do anything about it.
This is going to be Hallie Sherlock serving now. And the junior setter able to put that one over. Keep her service run alive.
Sherlock came in the early goings of this set as this kind of second libero serving specialist, refilling that role right now.
Faltinsky gets some power on that one. And then she shuts the door, but out of bounds off the block. We're knotted at 10. So Yale, exactly what they wanted here after Harvard had the momentum early in this second set. Yale has neutralized the momentum that Harvard had. And now they're looking to take their first lead of the set. That's going to be 4 hits there for the Bulldogs. Rocky Aguirre goes back to serve. The Crimson bench loves it. Definitely been some new faces, some different faces this year, as we said, making huge contributions for the Crimson. But also Coach Weiss still playing around with lineups, still trying to figure out what's going to gel the best for her squad. But she's got to be excited for more great things to come from Bennett Truby. We've already seen so much great work out of the first year. She continues to be hot tonight.
Yeah, Truby's had a really, really productive couple of games. Is one of the freshmen on this side. There's a handful of them, but she's really had a big impact this season, especially filling into that middle blocker spot.
Well, a lot going on with this point. A couple overpasses, some good in-system play there from the Crimson. It looked like the Bulldogs were able to scramble to get that alive, but Crimson win the point. Aguirre's service run keeps going, looking to make it a 4-point lead. The bump set to the back row. Yarich swings at that one. Faltinsky roofed. Good now, and Barr combining on the block there, slamming the door closed on the Crimson.
Yeah, Barr coming into this game with 26 total blocks. She's very slowly but surely adding to that total as this match progresses, and she's so dangerous up front. Great, great blocking presence for Yale.
And that's going to be a swing and a kill for Peyton Bryan. Yale now gets the gap down to 1. Good now, still serving. She's got 1 ace on the night. Aguirre setting Faltinsky in the middle. Now the back set to Good now. And that's out. Nope, that was touched by the Crimson. Excuse me.
Yeah, I think it got a little swipe off the block. But the Harvard players in the back court thought it was going out, so must have just been a very, very slight touch.
And here comes the serve from the Bulldogs. Aguirre again, and that's been pretty much their best form of offense here in this second set. She continues to manipulate the entire flow of the court with what she's able to do.
And that just goes to show just how great her court vision is, because the defense for Yale is set up with their player in the 6th spot so far back that it's very difficult for them to cover that middle part of the floor just behind the 3-meter line. So if Aguirre can get the ball down there quickly, very unlikely that anybody's getting to it.
And she has certainly proven that she can. Farquhar there just has to get it over. Nice play at the net by Fury. Again, we see Fury having to make multiple attacks in a row. Harvard can't capitalize on that overpass, and then Faltinsky hung out to dry on the back row.
Phenomenal blocking battle between these two front rows and just trading opportunities, but it goes back to that point I said it a little bit earlier in this game. If Yale gets a free ball, if they can backpedal, reset their offense, Harvard's defense has to be so on point.
And that one, bit too long there from Schultz. Riley Patterson checks back in for the Crimson for Truby. So it's Farquhar, Fury, and Patterson in the front right now. The serve from Zhang. And a real tricky play there. Yale capitalizing on the opportunity. A lot of real estate in the middle of Harvard's area. And that one almost too easy for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, Deal kind of looking maybe starting a little bit of a setter battle between her and Rocky Aguirre, saying, hey, I'll try the setter dump move you've got. She's got that club in her bag.
Big swing there from Patterson. Now Harvard forced to play it off the net, which Patterson does from her knees. The set to the middle, and Abraham leaves no doubt. Deal again. What a luxury it must be for Carly Deal to have all these incredible people to set, but you can't also discount how good she is. Who's making who look better? It's tough to tell, but right now the Bulldogs look good as they take the lead here in the second set for the first time. They're trying to pull away. Harvard's trying to stop the momentum, and that's exactly what Riley Patterson does. Patterson with her third kill on her sixth attack of the night.
Patterson and Abraham, both sophomore middle blockers, listed at 6'1", drawing up almost identical plays back to back, running a great offense up the middle and just slamming that ball home.
And here's Lima, the right side hitter, delivers. Ju digs it out. Deal sets. Abraham finishes. We've seen it once. Now we've seen it quite a few times.
It's almost at this point, if Harvard sees that the pass is good, they should just try to clump all three blockers in the middle of the court because you almost know that Abraham is going to have a swing on it.
Some real great discernment there by Lindsay Zhang along the back row, trusting her judgment and tying things up at 17 here as the bench looks on nervously.
I believe it was Napoleon that said, don't interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake. And that's what makes a great volleyball player sometimes, is having that depth perception and that presence of mind to know when that ball is going out. You should never turn aside a free point.
Deal digs that out, and a free ball over off the Piet serve. Faltinsky winds up and delivers, and there is a tip.
Yeah, Harvard adamantly appealing that one. Great play design, great swing, perfect set to tee up the hitter to go for high hands and brush that one out.
Here's Piet again, now with a 1-point lead. Deal sets the middle, but Harvard's ready this time. Abraham couldn't get much on it. Faltinsky's going to take another big swing, but Schultz is back there to receive. All the way across. The door is slammed shut by the Crimson. Mila Yarich that time unsuccessful. And Harvard's got a little momentum and a 2-point lead. It's going to be a timeout for Yale.
The set basically covering every corner of the court on that play. Deal trying to set up Yarich, and the Harvard defense just perfectly reading it and throwing a block in her face.
Harvard, trying to ride this momentum now. 2-point lead as we take a look at the fearless leader for the Crimson, Jen Weiss. What can you say about a coach who's been leading the way with such great skill and leadership for over 30 seasons?
31 seasons under her belt, so many phenomenal players, and a lot of tournament success or in league championships. 2004, 2014, 2015 Ivy League champs. Harvard's got a really, really strong leader. They know how much the scope and the landscape of the Ivy League and college athletics has changed, but they're sticking with Jen Weiss because she has just been such a great keystone for the program.
Yeah, the 2014 Coach of the Year and also a local Massachusetts native, going to Bentley, where she played for 4 years on Bentley's volleyball team and then got her master's at Springfield. So all in all, just a mass volleyball legend, and she continues to lead this Harvard squad this year through a bit more of a rebuild, but also starting with that 3-0 Ivy League record. She is dead set on keeping them competitive despite the lack of experience.
Yeah, and so far so good. They're in a Ivy League tournament spot right now in fourth place of the conference. Just looking to keep inside that line and maybe get a huge statement win here tonight.
Abraham rejected. Riley Patterson up for the task there. Just closing the door with the solo block.
Yeah, it's a one-on-one battle that Patterson got the better of on that instance. Now Harvard in a really good position, up 3 here, first team to break 20.
Abraham again. And they say it's out.
Wow, if that was out, wasn't out by too much.
No, and we know Larice Abraham is good, and we know she's accurate, so she must have just missed on that. Nope, confirmed it was in. It was in.
It
My
was in.
apologies. Yep, as
Oh.
we see Yale got the point. They're now down by 2, although Harvard definitely does look a little confused by the play.
Yeah, now we're...
Might be getting a challenge here.
Yeah, so we've got the corner ref making her way to the tower right now. And this will be a little bit of time. This will be good for Yale. Obviously, if they get the point, that helps the Bulldogs' case. But, you know, you've got to chip away at this Harvard attack that's looked a lot better in the second set than it did in the first set. This just gives you a time to kind of breathe, reset your mind, and get ready into this game. Maybe thinking of a set play to run if they get a good possession, and just trying to break through this Crimson defense.
Yeah, Harvard hitting 391 here in set number 2 after hitting 0 in set number 1. So a huge turnaround offensively as we continue to wait for the official call here after the review. But on the flip side, got the Bulldogs hitting just 194 in set 2 after hitting 267. So just a lack of consistency there. Harvard putting a little more pressure on the Bulldogs, making them work harder for the points that they're getting. And definitely a lot of play at the net there in the middle. So it's looking like whoever can figure out either how to win that battle overall or add another trick to their bag for set number 2 is probably going to be the team that walks away with the victory here.
Yeah, I think a big reason that Harvard's hitting percentage has basically gone through the roof compared to set number 1 is Rocky Aguirre. Tied for the lead with 4 kills and is swinging at an 800 clip in set number 2. Really strong performance from her so far.
And what does that say about her decision-making process, that she's able to pick these spots so well, even when she's using the plays where she's getting kills on, points that are coming pretty close to each other?
Oh, yeah, I mean, absolutely. Even when she can and has the opportunity to make a play on the ball, she has that court vision and just the confidence in herself to put that ball over and just force the issue. Yale is the kind of team that you definitely have to throw some curveballs at. You can't just be throwing the same attack, the same routine at them. Sending the ball over on second touch, especially when it's purposeful, when it's got eyes for the court, is really something that's going to throw the Bulldogs off kilter.
Mila Yarich to serve after Yale was awarded the point. They trail by 2. The Crimson put the free ball over. Deal's got options. She goes with good now, and that was a good choice.
Well, Yale is certainly a team that is rich with options, but if there's a player in your front row with the last name Goodnow, that should maybe limit your options a little bit. Hey, set number 33.
Yarich again, Piet there for that one. Patterson off the block and gets the point for the Crimson.
That is a great swing by Patterson. Almost on a slide, coming in from the back row and jumping in front of that 3-meter line, but kind of bouncing out to her left and hitting a set that was set behind her. That is a really impressive swing from her.
So Wynn checks in for Zhang here and Truby for Patterson as the Crimson looking to extend their lead to 3 with a Faltinsky swing. And that's going to be 4 hits for the Bulldogs. Faltinsky, for a second there, it looked like Yale was going to have an answer, but they do not. Crimson bench is coming alive. The fans here at the MAC are starting to get into it as well.
Yeah, Yale nearly concocting a great play to get that ball back in the air.
Arya Ju, the one-handed set from Deal. And Abraham leaves no doubt about that one. A great set and an even better finish there from the Bulldogs.
Wow, that was on a platter by Deal, and Abraham basically had all day to swing at that one. Harvard's defense caught completely off guard.
Here's the junior Sherlock in to serve again. Aguirre to the middle where Truby waits to close the door.
All right, this is showing really strong tenacity by Harvard, even when Yale comes back with a really, really strong point. The Crimson staying composed, getting the point right back, and marching closer to a set 2 victory here.
Yeah, really nice run there for the Crimson. They fight the adversity. More than once, it looked like the Bulldogs had the momentum and they were going to sneak up and steal this second set. But the Crimson playing tough, mentally, physically, able to hang on to that lead. On the flip side, as we take a look at the Yale huddle, they've got some work to do here in set number 2, but there's no better person to have at the helm to do that work than Erin Appelman, another absolute fixture in the Ivy League. She's won 12 Ivy League titles. It's unheard of the amount of success she's had at Yale.
One of the most impressive stats that I have heard, not just in volleyball or in Ivy League athletics, but just sports period, is that Yale has finished in first place or second place in the Ivy League in 18 of the last 19 seasons.
Wow.
That is unbelievable consistency by Yale and the teams that are coached by Erin Appelman. She is at the forefront of this program. She has brought them to new heights and has really made a case for Yale to be one of the preeminent powers, not just on the East Coast, but perhaps in the nation.
Yeah, talk about maintaining a standard. That's all you have to say there. First or second in the Ivy for 18 of the last 19 seasons. Appelman came to the Bulldogs in 2003 after 8 seasons as an assistant at Penn State, and boy, has she worked wonders establishing the Bulldogs as an absolute powerhouse of Ivy League volleyball. They are a fixture. They are always at the top of that preseason poll. And now they're 5-0 in conference and 10-3 overall. So just lets you know the quality that Coach Appelman is working with on her bench. Here's Betsy Goodnow back to serve after Yale side out. Cut the deficit to 2. What a tricky no-look back tap there from Carly Deal. And Will is literally spinning in the broadcast booth because he's blown away by that play.
I got tangled up in my headset cord. That was unbelievable. No looker, one hand, behind the back, inside the near corner. That is crazy, crazy stuff by Deal.
Really impressive play there by Carly Deal. As I said, probably the best setter in the Ivy League, an absolute rock star. Just a great all-around player, one of the best servers in the Ivy League. She can do it all. She leads the Ivy League in assists with 10.34 per set. She's third in the Ivy League in aces and 10th in digs. But I don't know if any stat is more impressive than the creativity that she shows play in and play out.
It's a lot of the intangibles that Carly Deal brings to the table. And even if you go kind of around her statistics book, I mean, you just said it. She's obviously a phenomenal setter. She's leading the Ivy League in assists per set, but she's also got a handful of great digs and is a phenomenal server at the line. But she's also got 57 kills entering today's game, and she's also got 19 blocks. So she is just such a 5-tool athlete for Yale. And when she does things like that to help her team inch closer and get a foothold into the second set, you can see why she is such an asset for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, the way she facilitates but also finds times to get kills herself is truly impressive. She's got 4 kills on the evening already. Meanwhile, Betsy Goodnow back to serve. She's got 8 kills on the evening and 1 ace. Can she make it 2? Zhang to Aguirre. To the middle where Faltinsky leaves no doubt about that one. Pounding it into the hardwood.
Just goes to show that the flexibility that this Harvard lineup has, and Bryn Faltinsky can be a great pin hitter, but she's also got the height and the speed and the reflexes to run a really, really tidy attack up the middle.
And she'll be rewarded with a chance to go back to the service line and finish things out here in the second set herself. Can the Harvard Crimson close the door? Off that block, they cannot. So a combo there of Farquhar and Truby. Not able to get it done there on the angles. And you don't want to see this if you're the Crimson. Kara Schultz going back to serve. Harvard only has a 1-point lead. This could be dangerous. Aguirre with the back set. Farquhar gets something on it. And a miscommunication. Betsy Good. And we're knotted at 1 apiece in this battle between the Crimson and the Bulldogs. Let's take a quick look at where we sit in the Ivy League coming into this evening. Everybody's in action tonight. Everybody's got 2 games this weekend. And Will, this is where we currently sit.
Yeah, and if you remember back to that preseason poll, a lot of people thinking that Brown was going to finish towards the top of the table. They've had a disappointing start to their year. They're down in 7th place. That kind of allows some new teams that don't really expecting to make a big splash kind of get into the conversation for that Ivy League tournament.
And we might talk a little bit more about the standings later on, but for now, a big splash is made by Ali Farquhar and Bennett Truby, who combine to block the first play there and side out for the Crimson. And another point for the Crimson. So off to a nice lead here early on in set number 3.
Yeah, great block.
Oh, go ahead, Will.
No, I was just going to say, great block to start the set off, and then utilizing a mistake by Yale.
And another miscommunication there by the Bulldogs, who multiple times in the last few points, going back to the end of last set, have just looked a little bit out of sync. That time, Deal takes the serve receive, but nobody there to help her out. And Rocky Aguirre ends her own service run by putting that one into the net.
Yeah, unfortunate end to that streak for Rocky Aguirre. But yeah, Yale, especially when you compare it to the Yale we saw in the first set, looking a little bit shaky out of the gate here. Let's see how they recover.
Faltinsky takes the first touch. Truby gets rejected but keeps it alive. She has to put it over with the left hand. Off the block. Zhang pokes that one up. Aguirre trying to find that middle area again with a dump, but there was an answer that time. Farquhar gets blocked, but we play on. Faltinsky into a double block, and that one drops to the floor for a Bulldog point.
An explosive answer by Yale for a pretty marathon rally. And you could see on that play, Arya Ju getting wise to that setter dump from Aguirre, covering that open spot of the floor. Aguirre might have to think twice about using that weapon again.
That one off the block and in. I believe it was Farquhar with the big swing. And that'll send Bryn Faltinsky back to serve. So yes, definitely Arya Ju, the libero for the Bulldogs, must have some of Aguirre's tricks in the back of her mind now that they've seen it a few times. Just an opportunity here for the setter to get a little bit more creative. But first, an opportunity for Faltinsky from the service line. Deal the set to the middle. And another big block there by Truby. So Truby proving to be a defensive stalwart here for the Crimson. She's been very good at the net. She's got 2 blocks. And she's come up in some pretty big spots for as a young player. A lot of zip on that one from Goodnow, and Faltinsky can't handle it.
Yeah, Truby, you look over her numbers as a first year. Had 48 blocks entering today's game, so just a little bit over a block per set. So she's really been a productive unit at the net and helped Harvard a lot in a couple of important wins.
Zhang with a nice high bump set. However, Fury goes into the net with it. Very tough angle there for Fury moving towards the net.
I was going to say, very difficult swing to pull off. You're basically running full sprint at the net. You've got to jump and time it correctly. There's a lot of factors on a play like that.
Faltinsky now will set Farquhar, who goes a little bit too long with the left hand, past the far sideline. And we're knotted up at 5 after Harvard took the early lead in set number 3.
Yeah, Harvard jumped out to the early lead, and then a handful of Crimson mistakes has tied it right back up.
Fury into the block. Aguirre now setting the middle, and Ju with a nice diving play to keep it alive. Then from the back row, Deal into the net.
Yeah, nothing Juric could do on that one. Just mistimed the jump, so she had to try to swing that from her feet, and by that point, it was just too low. Angled right into the net.
The senior Zhang with the offering. Deal in the middle, and Abraham with a powerful delivery.
Yeah, Yale says, enough of the tricks. We're going to start setting our middle again. And when you've got a player like Abraham, that is highly encouraged.
Laurice Abraham has made her presence felt in this game. She was out-dueled by Harvard's middle blocker, Riley Patterson, and also by Truby in the last set, but that battle continues to rage on, as does this point. Deal with the set to the middle, and Gigi Barr gets the point for the Bulldogs on that one.
Yeah, Barr, we said it a little earlier in the game, but she matched her season high of 14 kills in the most recent game against Columbia. Also had that total earlier on against Fairfield, but has had a very productive evening tonight.
And Riley Patterson off the assist from Aguirre, ending the service run of Hallie Sherlock, who already has an ace on the night. So fortuitous there for Harvard that they're able to put a quick end to her service and send their own Amelie Lima back. Goodnow fields it. Nice play there by Patterson and Aguirre. Patterson keeps it alive with the ends of her fingertips. And that one past the block and out with the officials say no touch, although Gigi Barr disagrees.
Great desperation play there by Patterson to keep that ball alive. Her coming up with Zhang just to get that ball over the net, and kind of an over-powerful swing coming from Yale, and I think we're going to see a challenge here by the Bulldogs.
Yeah, the Bulldogs definitely thinking there was a tip on that play. Obviously very tough to tell. These officials have quite a tough job ahead of them. They are doing their best. They're doing a great job. We'll find out what the replay review shows here. But yeah, Riley Patterson, how about that wingspan, huh? Just to be so athletic, but also have that reaction time where you don't know if you're going to have to fly 3 feet off the air or if you're going to have to get down to floor level and just get your fingertips on something to keep the ball alive. That's why these athletes are so impressive, is that they're almost always ready to do both.
Yeah, and that's what makes the role of that middle blocker so important, is because you are, in most senses, you are kind of an attacking specialist, whether that be running a quick attack or in the sense of attacking at the net with your blocks. But you're in the most populated part of the floor, so you've got to think fast, you've got to be able to have quick reactions, and you've got to make reads on plays like that. And that's exactly what we saw by Riley Patterson, and it led, as of right now, as the play stands, to a Harvard point.
And Patterson still tied for the lead on the Crimson Knight with 5 kills, tied with Faltinsky and Truby, but she's done hers on only 8 total attacks, whereas Faltinsky has taken 21 total attacks to get to 5 kills. Truby also hitting a really good percentage at .455 on only 11 total attacks. So Riley Patterson definitely the highest percentage that the Crimson could look to put a point on the board at any given moment, but of course they need to keep it varied. Rocky Aguirre always good at switching up who she's setting to try to keep things off balance. But it looks like we're getting back into play here, and the officials have come to a conclusion?
I think they're at least what the scoreboard reads right now in front of us. They're signaling, there it is. Signaling the play go back to Yale, so this will result in a Bulldog point, and the score will flip. Before this play, it was 7-7, so it went from Harvard 8, Yale 7, now sitting at Yale 8, Harvard 7. So,
justice for Gigi. Gigi Barr there was absolutely correct with her petition, and Yale with the point now.
Still a bit of dialogue there over at the scores table.
Yep, our officials are not quite set.
Yeah, not sure if this call is 100%. There it is. Yep, so the point will flip and head over to the Bulldogs.
And Goodnow delivers. Faltinsky really muscles that one, but a great play by Arya Ju. An even better play by Riley Patterson, who's there for the kill.
Faltinsky and Patterson with 2 of the biggest booms we've heard out of Harvard tonight. Faltinsky with that initial swing out of the backcourt, and then Patterson with the monster block in the front row.
2 heavy hitters for this Harvard team, coming up big when the Crimson need them most. Here's Taya Piet. Clips the net, gets it to drop, but the Bulldogs get it over, put a nice swing on it. Faltinsky has her swing partially blocked, and Gigi Barr, again with the vision in the peripherals, able to spot that little open patch of court and go right for it.
Yeah, smart play there by Gigi, not fully able to get a leap, so she can't make a commit to a full swing there, but pushing it towards the side court near Rocky Aguirre, so it's a difficult ball to pick up, but even if she does, Harvard would be running out of system.
Faltinsky handles the Schultz serve and then puts a swing on that one. Riley Patterson, right place, right time. Another solo block.
And Harvard, there's some activity there on the bench. Resuscitations after the monster block again by Patterson. That time looking very comfortable, just going up quickly, blocking the attempt there from the backcourt by Schultz and getting Harvard back to level.
Faltinsky with a nice swing and a good angle, but an even better play by Arya Ju. This time Faltinsky changing up the angle and delivers with that big righty swing.
Faltinsky is one of those players that has just always been there for Harvard. She was making some big splashes as a freshman, but really this year, her junior season, she's just hit a completely different gear.
Yeah, a one-time Rookie of the Week, her first year on campus for the Crimson. That was just a slight foreshadowing of what she was going to be able to put together when she got a bigger opportunity, and that is this year, her junior year. So even though that one goes out for the Rancho Santa Fe, California native, still a lot to build on and a lot of excitement for what she's been able to do tonight and this season. Of course, she wants to get that hitting percentage number up a little bit. Came in swinging 152 and averaging 3.5 kills per set. Really good numbers for someone who's just starting to come into their own and really be an offensive cornerstone for this Crimson squad.
Yeah, and I'm extremely excited to see how she takes her game to the next level as the season goes on and into next year.
And right on cue, there she is delivering again. That time, Goodnow frozen like a statue. So much juice on the swing from Faltinsky. There just really wasn't much that could be done there.
So Faltinsky now up to 7 kills, and she's had a really productive couple of games because in that 5-setter against Penn a few days ago, she had 18.
Feeding the hot hand early and often are the Crimson. But the Bulldogs refusing to go away. And even when it feels like the Crimson have all the momentum, we're still in a tied third set here, 11 apiece with Carly Deal back to serve. Deal with a lot of spin on that one. Faltinsky does well to keep it up, as does Schultz on the other side. A tough set there from Deal, and you don't see it often, but she knew as soon as she set that it was not her best.
Yeah, it just had eyes for the antenna. It wasn't really floating out in front of the net, and it was going to be a difficult play. And Harvard getting the benefit of a 4-touch call.
So our new server is Faltinsky. Deal sets the middle. Abraham can't get much on that one. The back set to Farquhar, kept alive by Deal, and a bump set across to Goodnow. Aguirre plays that one to Zhang, who sets Fury, and Fury goes long. So Corinne Fury, the senior who served as the captain last year for the Harvard squad from Wilmington, Delaware. She's not had the best night statistically, but continues to bring tons of energy for the Harvard squad. Unfortunately for her, she's only converted 15 attacks into 1 kill. But it's not going to slow her down. An overpass by the Crimson sets up this really good chance from Goodnow. And that is indeed a big Bulldog point, putting them ahead. 13-12 and sending Deal back to serve again.
Although Fury doesn't really pile on the kills that she maybe has wanted to tonight, she is always present. She's been an active blocker and a strong contributor defensively for the Crimson, and that's just an awkward play there in the foreground for Harvard.
Yeah, another play there for Harvard where they kind of looked like they maybe lost a little bit of momentum and maybe lost a little bit of where they were on the court. They'll take a timeout to kind of try to shift the momentum here. But while we talk about Harvard kind of stumbling on that last play, let's blow that up a little bit, Will, and talk about last weekend for the Crimson, where they were 3-0 heading into their road trip to take on Princeton and Penn, and neither of those games went their way. They came back from Pennsylvania with a 3-2 record after a really tough one to start out against Princeton.
Yeah, a 3-0 loss to the Tigers, and really just a game where you're coming off the 3 wins. Harvard was feeling very confident about itself, including a 3-0 victory just a few days ago against Columbia, but Princeton really shutting down Harvard, and that's kind of been the story this season. There's been some high streaks, there's been some low streaks for the Crimson, and you thought maybe they would take that loss and go to Philadelphia and get a hard-earned win there, and it was certainly a hard-earned game. Both sides trading sets the entire contest, but unfortunately for Harvard, the Quakers edging them out in that 5th set, and making that road trip a pointless one, or I don't want to say a pointless one, but one without earning a point
Correct.
for the Crimson.
Absolutely. Yeah, just a tough weekend all around. The Princeton loss, in the first set, it looked like they just got off to too slow of a start. And then by the time they really hit their stride in the second and third set, unfortunately for Harvard, Cameron Chaney and Lucia Scalamandre were also hitting their stride, two of the best attackers in the entire Ivy League. And once they got hot, that Princeton match was pretty much over. The Penn match was just such a great, epic back and forth with the Crimson losing sets 1 and 3, winning sets 2 and 4, and then actually having a lead in the fifth set, but not able to convert as they lost that nail biter. I believe the fifth set was 15-13 on that one. So hard fought battle, a lot of experience gained for this young Crimson squad in that weekend. No wins, but they come back with this renewed energy at home, a place where they usually play pretty well. Although now they're in a spot where they really need to stop this Bulldog momentum because Yale has climbed their way back into this third set, and they're threatening to take full control here. Up 2. The back set to Farquhar, and that's going to be a Crimson point.
And I think if you go back, even looking at that Princeton game, although Harvard didn't get the win and didn't get a set win in that entire game, I do think they learned a lot about how to come back from adversity, because we saw Yale really storm out in that first set and really take control of Harvard. And it looked pretty dire for the Crimson after set number 1, but the Crimson bounced back, got a victory in set number 2. You compare that to what we saw against Princeton, it was a very one-sided affair in that first set, 25-14. But then Harvard made it a little bit closer, 25-18. And then by the third set, although Princeton still ended up winning that set and the contest, it was a 27-25 final in set number 3. So Harvard incrementally getting better, and I think taking some of what they learned into today's matchup.
Absolutely. You definitely see those lessons carry over, and it had to sting a little bit. Harvard in that third set against Princeton was even up 24-21 late and allowed Princeton to just sneak back in and take the third set and make it a sweep with a 27-25 win. Those are the kinds of things that as young players have it happen to them, you keep it in the back of your mind, you take note, and it really affects the way that you mentally approach the rest of the season. And we see that grit, we see that tenacity out of Harvard here tonight, playing in front of their home crowd at the Malkin Athletic Center in Cambridge.
Yeah, seeing some right there on that play right there. I believe that was Faltinsky chasing that ball down, trying to get a handle on it before it hit the ground, but Crimson team not afraid of a little floor burn.
No, they're laying it all out there tonight, and again, we see Betsy Goodnow put the ball down as discussion is going on in the arena, in the gym.
Rocky Aguirre is at the tower umpire right now, having a quick conversation, as is Deal for the Bulldogs. I wonder what this is, what has spurred this conversation.
A little bit of official conversation going on the far side of the court where you can't see it right now. They are talking things over, and it looks like we have come to a consensus. And they're going to redo that point, I believe.
Wow. And actually, I believe on that play that I said that it was Faltinsky chasing that ball down, I believe it was actually Omalie Lima making that last-ditch effort to get that ball in the air.
Erin Appleman pleading her case, but looking dismayed at the result. And yeah, the point comes off the board, so Harvard's deficit stays at 2.
Maybe they were challenging that it took an unfair carom off the rafters, because that did occur. A bounce off the roof did occur in that set. Did not see what kind of bounce it took.
No, there's Isabella Mendoza. First time we're saying her name tonight, with a big swing and a nice kill off the block of Patterson. So Riley Patterson, who we've become accustomed to seeing win solo block after solo block tonight. That time, she is bested at the net. And Goodnow keeps serving. And Aguirre will set Fury on the far side. That one easily dug up by Deal. Mendoza again. Zhang on the bump set this time, and Aguirre has to try to put it to the back corner. Deal sets the middle, but she's out of sync with Gigi Barr, and that's going to be a Crimson point.
Another great dig there by Lima. in the perfect spot along that near side sideline, and another really strong blocking performance up front by Patterson. Harvard just keeps managing to chip away and win some of these marathon points, and that's got to start to be demoralizing for the Bulldogs.
Nonetheless, Yale maintains a 2-point lead, and Taya Piette puts that one just a bit long off the back end. So now it's a 3-point lead for the Bulldogs.
And that is already the third service error committed by Harvard this game.
They came into tonight with 133 service errors on the evening. So not doing themselves a ton of favors, as you mentioned right at the top of the broadcast about that, Will. And we've seen it come to fruition. That time, Schultz into the net from the back row. Patterson was waiting there, but she didn't have to do anything. It's a point for the Crimson, and backing to serve is going to be Hannah Wynn.
And now Patterson being subbed out now. So a little bit of new personnel to work with for Rocky Aguirre, as Bennett Truby now fills in that middle blocker position for the next couple of rotations.
Well, that one right into the net, right next to Truby. Patterson will check back in.
Yeah, subbing out for Hannah Wynn. So now with that substitution, this actually turns into one of the better Harvard front rows that they could orchestrate. Two really tall, strong blocking forces up front.
And it's going to be a win for Bella Chan on the serve. She's going to keep her service run alive. The Bulldogs there. First time we're also saying Bella Chan's name, so she's the captain of this squad. She's a senior. She's from San Diego as well. So quite a few San Diegans or in that area on the court tonight for both teams. But Chan has this one fielded, but Harvard still can't get anything going.
And actually the call on that was, and I thought I saw 2 touches on that initial play, but the call for that point was 4 touches. So Harvard just getting a little bit too aggressive. I think 2 players, I want to say it was Omalee and Zhang on that first ball, just kind of overcommitted.
So Harvard will take a timeout and talk things over. Down by 5 in this pivotal third set. Harvard now needs a huge side out. They have to end this service run by Bella Chan. And what an impressive performance there by Chan, who has only 1 ace on the season, but coming in a pretty crucial moment in set number 3. And she's able to at least get 2 points for her squad and see if she can even rattle off a few more here for the Bulldogs. But I've always found it so impressive when a player can come in somewhat cold in a sport like volleyball where every single point is just so high pressure. And to be able to come in and deliver like that, that's something that you love to see out of a senior player and your leader and captain.
Yeah, and I think that goes to show that she is a team first player first and foremost, because she played over 100 sets last season, primarily as the team's libero, accumulated over 130 digs. Now she kind of transitions into more of a serving specialist for her team, and that captaincy role, it doesn't stop on the court. That just goes to show how much leadership she provides at practices, in the locker room, and everywhere else where the team might need some veteran leadership.
Yeah, so she ceded that libero position to Aria Ju, and we see why. Ju so good, 6th in the Ivy in digs per set. She's got 9 double-digit dig matches on the season, but Chan continuing to do well here, except that she cannot field that giant swing there from Truby. So, as does always happen, we broadcasters bestow some praise onto a player, and then something negative happens to that player. We will take the blame for that one. But Harvard, nonetheless, with a big side out here, they're going to get a chance to put some points on the board, and a very good server in Rocky Aguirre back to the line.
Yeah, and this also means that Aguirre is going to be in the back row, a very high-octane front row now, 3 possible hitters. This is, at least for the position that Crimson are in right now, it's probably the best look rotation they could throw at the Bulldogs.
Deal with a joust at the net between Deal and Truby. Truby was ready for that one. Another play at the net. Just enough finesse on it. Aguirre was on the ground. Farquhar also kind of falling down while that ball was dropping, and she couldn't get her feet under her to make a play on it. So Yale now 3 points away from taking set number 3. Carly Deal back to serve. Faltinsky digs it out. Faltinsky gets rewarded with a set and a swing. Big kill there for Bryn Faltinsky, who's approaching rapidly 30 attacks on the evening. She'll take her 8th kill on that one.
Great play by Harvard, bouncing back after a little bit of an unfortunate bounce in that last play. And Faltinsky, when Harvard needs an answer, she has almost always provided one very quickly.
She's been very good from the service line, although no aces to show for it tonight. And too much juice on that one. I believe Mila Yarich was there to provide the swing. Good judgment by the Crimson, letting it sail out of bounds, and Faltinsky will serve again.
Harvard's certainly not out of this set. Down by 3 points right now, but serving well and getting Yale out of system.
Ju gives Schultz a chance. Schultz with a really nice delivery on that third hit. Harvard able to answer, and now Schultz with the set from the back row. Yarich to a diving Zhang, and we get Peyton Hollis for the first time tonight for the Crimson. And nothing better than a player checking in and making an immediate impact. If you were Coach Jen Weiss, that is exactly what she was looking for from Peyton Hollis, a name that we have not said tonight, but is coming on strong. She played 4 sets in the last match against Penn, and boy, was she a spark plug for the Crimson in that match against the Quakers last time out.
Oh, no doubt. And you want to talk about a player coming in a little bit cold after not playing too much, but Peyton Hollis, as a junior right now, only came in for 1 game last season against Merrimack, only had 2 kills in her entire collegiate career. Both of those came in her freshman campaign. So she has come out here as a really good second option for Harvard and has really piled up some impressive numbers. Has played entering today's matchup in 22 sets, has 54 kills, and is swinging at a 186 hitting percentage. So a really, really good player to look to if you are trying to throw a different rotation at your opponent and need an attack from the pen.
Yeah, 11 kills on 39 attacks against Penn. She only played, as you said, 6 sets in her first 2 full seasons. So a real weapon off the bench here for Coach Weiss. And she's being put to work at a crucial moment late in the 3rd set. Bryn Faltinsky coming out of the timeout. We'll see if she can keep her momentum going or if Yale was able to ice her and come out with a well-designed play here to answer this Faltinsky serve. But that's not the first touch they were looking for. Certainly not the play they drew up in that timeout. Betsy Goodnow gives herself a little smack on the forehead because she knows that that was not what she was looking to do with that ball on that serve receive.
And Harvard, after Yale really established a cushion, Crimson right back in this set.
Trailing by 1, looking to even things up. Aguirre over to Hollis. Hollis is rejected, and that one catches the line on the way down. The Bulldogs never had a doubt. The Crimson were begging for the officials to call it out, but Yale knew that that one was dropping in. So Hollis there with another big swing, but that time she had the door closed in her face, and that one drops for a Bulldog point, and a big Bulldog point as they're now 2 points away from the win and 2 points ahead of the Crimson.
And Harvard challenging this now on that last play, arguing that the ball did in fact fall out of play, but just see how both benches are so animated right now at this point in the 3rd set, just begging for the ball to drop on the far side of the court.
Such a crucial moment of this match for sure. Neither of these teams looking to lose this 3rd set, knowing how hard it will be to climb back in to win sets 4 and 5. Rounds definitely benefits them, and then that last weekend, Columbia and Cornell, depending on where things sit by then, those matches might not really mean that much to the Bulldogs on the road. So a big response from Harvard out of the timeout, and that's what Coach Weiss was looking for. The energy is up. Peyton Hollis playing now with Riley Patterson in the front row, and Lindsay Zhang back to serve. An overpass, but Harvard cannot capitalize. Ju with the bump set. Mendoza takes a little bit off that one, and it was spectacular. Isabella Mendoza, the 5'11 Miami, Florida native, coming on late in this 3rd set with a couple very pivotal plays. Yale leads by 2. It's set point in set number 3. Hollis puts that one right into the net, and there's nothing that the Crimson can do. Yale taking set number 3, 25-22. Will, that was a good one, but Yale pulling away at the end.
Yeah, that challenge by Harvard looking for the ball out on that play ended up not going their way, so Yale did retain that point. I think that timeout, that breather, allowed the Bulldogs to kind of recollect themselves after a big serving streak by Bryn Faltinsky, and they take it all the way to the house for a set 3 victory. They go up 2-1 in this one.
Can the Crimson turn things around in set number 4 and use this home court advantage to force a decisive 5th set? Yale just took set number 3 in dramatic fashion by 3 points. Harvard trying to crawl back in. If they're going to do it, it's starting to feel like the freshman from Dallas, Texas, Bennett Truby, number 14, is going to be a big part of it for the Crimson. She's been big tonight with 8 kills. She's looking for her first ever double-digit kill performance. She's got a whole set here. If she can get 2 of them, she'll achieve that. She's played every set of Ivy League play so far this season, and she's been really good.
Yeah, and I think she's certainly due for that double-digit performance and absolutely on pace for it as she's swinging right now at a 4.67 pace. She's been really strong, not just on the blocking, but also on the attacking side of the ball. But she's been a real multifaceted athlete, and that's in big part because she's got experience not only playing as a middle hitter, but also on that right side, so she can basically do anything you need her to in that front row. And I think that's why we're seeing Jen Weiss kind of go with her right now as this game progresses.
Yeah, the first year with 48 kills coming into this match. The only match of the season where she had a negative hitting percentage was her very first collegiate match against Merrimack this season. Since then, it's been pretty much all positive and all rise for the first year, who continues to develop. She's on the court along with Aguirre in the front row. And it's Carly Deal back to serve to kick off this 4th set. Crimson looking to knot things up at 2 sets apiece, and that's a great way to start for the Harvard Crimson.
And they call Truby's number, and when you've got the set and you've got the pass right there, you just got to start feeding your middle hitters, especially when they've had the game that Truby's had.
So Aguirre to serve now. Deal with the dump, and Aguirre a little slow to react.
And that part of the floor is so wide open, so difficult to cover. If you're in a kind of your standard base defense with the blockers up front and the players in the 1 and the 5 on the wings and the player in the 6 back deep, it's just kind of the one occupied part of the floor.
Sherlock was our server here. Deal is our setter for Gigi Barr. And that one's going to fly off the left forearm of Aguirre. Taya Piet was also playing the back row. Looked like she might have had a play on it, but not after Aguirre touched it. So here's Sherlock yet again. Set from Aguirre. Farquhar with the push over, and that does just enough to secure the point.
Yeah, not the prettiest point, but it's all about if the ball hits the floor at the end of the night. And that's just kind of a confusion on defense. If you put the ball into traffic, it's going to pinball off somebody, and it's going to make players second guess their motions. And that's exactly what Farquhar did right there.
Faltinsky brings this one back into play for the Crimson, and the free ball put over by Zhang. Deal with the back set to Goodnow again, and if at first you don't succeed, go ahead and try again. That's exactly what Goodnow does for the kill.
It almost seems like Goodnow had a quieter second set, or excuse me, a quieter third set than second, despite Yale winning that frame. And now she's starting to re-find her stride at the start of the 4th.
A troubling sight for the Crimson for sure. Faltinsky keeps that one up. A diving play from Aguirre, and Faltinsky with the one-arm swing. A great effort, but out of bounds.
Wow, that was a heck of a play just to get that ball in the air. I would have been absolutely floored if Faltinsky was able to put that between the 2 antennas and put it on the other side of the net.
Here's Goodnow looking to extend Yale's hot start. Peyton Hollis took the first touch there. Farquhar cannot get it through the block.
Yeah, Farquhar trying to thread the needle and on the hit put that ball into the antenna. Sometimes you'll see it bounce off the block and get a piece of the pole, but not on that instance.
Aguirre can't do much with that set. Deal with another tricky dump. And that one off the back heel of Aguirre, trying to keep it alive, but Bryn Faltinsky did not see it coming, and she cannot get her hands out to react.
Yeah, off the back heel of Aguirre and off the forehead of Bryn Faltinsky, unfortunately for her. That just takes an unfortunate bounce, but sometimes that's the name of the game. And Harvard is just rolling here in the fourth set. Or excuse me, Yale is rolling here at the start of the fourth set, and the Crimson forced to look for an answer right now.
Nice dig there from Faltinsky. Farquhar with a really nice set for Hollis on the other side. But Gigi Barr in the middle. She's been there all night, and she continues to deliver. She is our leader on the evening with that one. Kill number 13 for Gigi Barr.
It's been Barr and Goodnow just trading swings. Goodnow is set up shop here at the service line.
And Harvard completely on their heels now. Jennifer Weiss is going to have to take a timeout and talk things over before Yale extends this lead anymore. Yale off and running in set number 4. Whatever they did between 3 and 4, they certainly came out firing, and Harvard now needs to lead. It's going to be tough, but all you can ask for if you're Harvard is coming into that last weekend of play, do I have a shot to put ourselves into the playoff picture again? Only the top 4 teams in the Ivy League make the Ivy League tournament. Last year, the Crimson got in as the 4th seed, but had their season ended by top dog Yale, at Yale, who hosted the Ivy League tournament.
And the Bulldogs looking poised to rehost. The top seed gets that honor.
Zhang keeps it alive, and Hollis with the free ball way to the back row for the Bulldogs. A tricky kill attempt there from Deal, but the Crimson were ready. Aguirre looked ready for that one, but she's mad at herself that she let it fall to the floor. Yeah, well, these two teams, remember, at the start of last weekend, these two teams were tied for first in the Ivy League at 3-0, and they were the only two 3-0 teams in the Ivy League. But they had very different weekends, with Yale getting a sweep and Harvard getting swept, and now they're in completely different modes. And a big kill there, exactly what we were talking about earlier. Bennett Truby with her first 10-kill match of the season and of her career. A really nice play there off the block, and Harvard has a little life. Lindsay Zhang really needs to get something going for the Crimson, and it's an ace.
Well, Truby's kill couldn't have come at a better time for the Crimson, and then Zhang bouncing right back with a service ace. Harvard, before those 2 points, had to dig itself out of a 6-point deficit, and making some strides to do that.
The third ace of the night for the Crimson off the hand of Zhang, but they cannot keep the momentum going, and they drop this one. Yale now increasing their lead to 6. It's 10-4, and a dangerous server in Schultz heading back to the line. She looks confident. She had some really good runs earlier in the match. Serving hasn't been as good in these last couple sets from her, but she's certainly capable of some really impressive things from back there. Peyton Hollis delivers a big blow. We play on. Hollis again, this time off the block on the inside. It's returned. Aguirre to the middle. Riley Patterson mistimes the jump, but it doesn't matter. She's that good. What a play, Riley Patterson.
And that's a really strong play for Harvard, because you know Schultz is such a dangerous server. She already has 3 aces tonight. You got to get her off the line. You got to get the ball back in your hands. And now, all of a sudden, a little bit of momentum now for Harvard, and now a 5-point deficit, not seeming too big.
Here's Lima to serve for the Crimson. Deal with the jump set. And a big swing there. Mila Yarich, the senior, terminating the point.
Yeah, Yarich had a busy weekend, 13 kills against Columbia. She totaled 313 kills last season.
Now, she is certainly dynamic, and speaking of dynamic, Riley Patterson keeps knocking on doors, keeping the Crimson in this one. And Taya Piet will serve for Harvard.
Now, to come back in this game for the Crimson, it's going to be a full team effort. You know, how is your blocking? How is your middle play? What's the serving going to be like? This has to be some of the most polished volleyball of the season right now for Harvard.
A lot of polish on that one from the Bulldogs, who take the point. Harvard caught slightly out of position there. And Carly Deal will head back to serve. Piette can't handle it. Sails into the Crimson bench, and it's another Yale point. Harvard trailing by 7 at this juncture. Yale looking to run away with the fourth set, not looking to dabble at all in a 5-setter. They haven't been in one in quite some time. And a big swing from Bryn Faltinsky. Evens the tides here. Gets Harvard back to the service line where they need to start making something happen. But yeah, surprisingly, Yale, 5 of their first 6 matches actually went to 5 sets. And then of their last 6, not a single one has made it past 4. So talk about finding your rhythm, finding your momentum. Yale just getting stronger and stronger as the season goes along. But Harvard looking to steal one from them at home. It will be huge for morale. It will be huge for standings as well.
Yeah, the most popular result this season for the Bulldogs is that 3-0 result. They've got 4 of them so far this season.
And a really nice kill there from Yarich, who seems to be coming on strong in this 4th set and now finds herself back at the service line. Yarich there, that one had eyes and it had some velocity on it.
Yarich is not a player that has missed much this season, certainly hasn't missed much tonight.
Well, she did miss a lot of matches, but when she's been playing, she does not miss.
That is true. Yeah, I mean, for a player that is recently making her return to play, it doesn't look like she's really missed a beat. Yeah. Has only played in 18 sets entering today's game. This is now set 4 that she's played tonight, so she's up to 22 on the year.
And this is a player who, as a sophomore, was second team All-Ivy. Last year as a junior was first team All-Ivy League and didn't even lead the Bulldogs in any one category. So that just goes to show you how impressive she is and also how good the teams have been for the Bulldogs over these last few years. But yeah, a major contributor, just an all-around stud is Mila Yarich. Her serve here is going to lead to a point. That's Laurice Abraham resurfacing here in the middle spot, putting a big swing on that one, picking up where she left off. Yarich to serve again. Aguirre, cross court to Faltinsky. And Faltinsky puts a little something extra on that one.
I was about to say Faltinsky seemingly wound up forever. Just unwound. He was like a coiled snake and just ripped that ball into the backcourt.
And with the desired result. A double block there, Faltinsky and Truby, but that one off Truby and out.
Yeah, great use of the hands by Yale, and the Bulldogs starting to show why they're the reigning Ivy League champs and why they're quickly pulling away in these rankings.
Faltinsky back to serve now. Down by 6 are the Crimson. She's had a few longer service runs tonight. Can she put one together here? Dug out by Goodnow. Jew with the set. Aguirre put that one on a platter for Truby. But Yale had the answer, and this time it was placement, not power. Goodnow, just a really nice job reading the movements, reading the defense, using the touch.
Well, that's why she's one of the best players, not only on this team, but in the entire Ivy League.
A dangerous overpass here, and Gigi Barr makes quick work of that Harvard mistake.
Yeah, one thing you cannot do as the Crimson is tee up the Bulldogs, and that's exactly what those overpasses are doing when you've got a player like Gigi Barr just waiting in the wings for a ball like that to come over.
Certainly, we've talked about how Yale is good at winning matches even when their opponent is not helping them out with a lot of errors. So certainly things like overpasses are only setting yourself up for a deeper hole to climb out of against this Bulldogs offense. And while we have a moment, let's just take a little look around the Ivy League. Some of the other matches going on. Dartmouth and Brown are tied up at 1 apiece in the 3rd set, with Brown leading 24-21. Elsewhere, Penn and Cornell going at it. Cornell won the first set 25-19, and they lead the second set 14-11. And the third other match besides the one we're watching here on ESPN Plus is Princeton at Columbia. And Princeton took that one in 3 sets. Not much of a shocker there. 25-19, 25-13, 25-12. So not much of a fight there from Columbia, who continues to search for their first Ivy League win. Certainly a sign that maybe Princeton is hitting their stride and finding their groove. Can't wait to see the end results of Princeton and Yale later on in the season. But for right now, Harvard saying, hey, we want to still be part of this conversation. We need to compete. We need to finish this match out. Coming out of the timeout, see what the Crimson can do here, trailing by 8. The swing was from Mendoza. She'll get another chance. And this time she capitalizes.
She's not going to be contained twice. That was a great cover there by Gigi Barr in the front row. Really doing well to position her body just to get that ball in the air. Doesn't have to be accurate, just has to give your setter and your hitters time to reset. That's exactly what she does, and Yale is awarded with the point.
Faltinsky tries to set Hollis, who taps it over. This one off the fingertips of Zhang, and yet again, a tip from a Harvard player, maybe disrupting the rhythm of the players behind them. And that one's going to sail away from the Crimson and be a point for Yale. And Betsy Goodnow continues to live at this service line.
She has just set up shop. As we say that.
Of course, we don't do that on purpose, but Goodnow into the net there. And Zhang will have an opportunity to try to put the Crimson on her back here and carry them back up the mountain.
And it's a big mountain to climb. 9 points right now, but not undoable, and that's a great start to the march.
That's right. That time it was Farquhar who had the answer on defense. Nice play there. Harvard trying to use this home crowd. They usually play really well here at the Malkin Athletic Center. They are 16-2 in their last 18 matches here at the friendly confines in Harvard Square. Just a stone's throw from all the action in Cambridge. And right now they're trying to feed off the home crowd's enthusiasm, but they are certainly looking at an uphill battle with Schultz back to serve. Only 4 points needed for Yale to put the last nail in this coffin tonight. Aguirre, the set. A crafty move, but Yale was ready.
Great cover there by Goodnow. Almost full parallel, getting a hand pass on that.
And Farquhar cannot get it through the block of Deal and Barr and Yarich. I don't know exactly who it was, but all three of them together said no, no, no. Closing the door. Schultz to serve again. 10-point lead now. And she'll go into the net.
You look at the blocking totals, or really the height totals on these two sides, very evenly matched up. Yale has 10 players listed at 6 foot or above. Harvard's got 9 players listed at 6 foot and above. But really, it seems like the blocking for Yale has just hit higher points than Harvard tonight.
And that point is going to go the way of the Bulldogs as well. So Harvard, again, caught a little bit flat-footed here. And Bella Chan back to serve for the Bulldogs. She'll be looking to close this one out, which she will do if she can get 2 points here for the squad from New Haven. Back row set for Faltinsky. She powers it, but the Bulldogs have an answer. Now a middle set for Patterson, and she can't get it down. On the other end, we have a double hit there. So too much power. I believe that was Abraham on the swing. And it's match point Yale. Chan the serve. Here's Hollis into the net. And with that, the match is over. Yale takes set number 4, 25-13. Harvard came out strong, but they lost all their momentum there in that fourth and final set. So after battling to win set number 2, it's going to be Yale with a 3-1 win over the Crimson. Will, this was a really exciting match, maybe a little bit even more exciting than the score would indicate, but Harvard losing 2 sets, 25-13. They've got some work to do now for the rest of the season.
Yeah, that first set and that last set really showing why Yale is such a strong team, because if you give them any kind of gap, any avenue to a victory, they're going to take it. And now Harvard, after a barnstorming start to their Ivy League calendar, has now lost its past 3 conference matchups and really has to do some searching right now to find the answers and get back into this Ivy League tournament conversation.
Well, Gigi Barr was our leading attacker on the night. She led all hitters with 17 kills. It was a really good performance by Betsy Goodnow, who we spotlighted at the top of the night. She had an amazing night. And Laurice Abraham for the Bulldogs as well hit double digits with 11 kills. So an all-around dynamic performance out of the Bulldogs. For the Crimson, it's back to the drawing board, but they will have another chance at home tomorrow, taking on Brown. You're not going to want to miss that one, so make sure you catch the action right here on ESPN+. For Coach Jen Weiss's squad, it's back to the drawing board, but a very exciting 4-set match tonight, and we're glad that you were here to watch it with us. So, from Cambridge, for my broadcast partner, Will Henschel, and also our director-producer, Aaron O'Brien, who did a great job for us tonight, we want to say thank you for watching this installment of Ivy League Volleyball. It was a real pleasure coming to you from the Malkin Athletic Center in Cambridge, Massachusetts. The Yale Bulldogs